idea that changed my life. Welcome, dear reader. Today I will share a story about one simple idea that changed everything. It's not just a story, it's a journey through emotions, struggles, and the hidden secrets of life. Have you ever wondered how one small thought, like a seed, can grow into something so powerful that it transforms your life? Sometimes we search for big answers, but the truth often hides in the quiet corners of our hearts. This story is about finding that truth, facing pain, and discovering hope when it feels like all is lost. Let's begin. The sky was gray, the clouds heavy with the promise of rain. I was sitting alone in a small, dusty apartment in Chicago, staring at the same cracked wall I'd seen 1,000 times. My name is Ethan Parker, and at that moment I felt like the loneliest person in the world. Life hadn't always been this way. There was a time when laughter filled the rooms, when my heart wasn't so heavy. But grief has a way of sneaking in, stealing colors from your world, leaving only shades of gray. It started 2 years ago when my younger sister, Lily, passed away in a car accident. She was just 18, full of dreams, full of life. I remember the day like it was burned into my memory. A phone call, a stranger's voice, words that didn't make sense at first. There's been an accident. We're sorry. She didn't make it. I thought it was a mistake. It had to be. I rushed to the hospital, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. But when I saw her lying there, cold and still, the truth hit me with the force of 1,000 storms. Lily was gone. Grief is strange. People think it's just about sadness, but it's more than that. It's guilt, anger, confusion. I kept thinking about the last time we spoke. We had fought over something silly, something I can't even remember now. I didn't say, sorry. I didn't say I love you. For months I couldn't breathe without feeling the weight of those unsaid words. I stopped talking to my friends. I quit my job. I pushed away everyone who tried to help because I felt I didn't deserve their kindness. I thought, what's the point? She's gone. Nothing will ever be the same. And then, one rainy afternoon, everything changed. I was going through Lily's old things, her favorite books, her sketches, the little notes she used to leave around the house. That's when I found it, a letter. It was addressed to me. The envelope was crumpled, the ink slightly faded. My hands trembled as I opened it. Dear Ethan, it began, if you're reading this, it means I'm not around anymore. Don't be sad. I know you'll miss me, and I'll miss you too. But I need you to remember something very important. Life is not about the days we lose. It's about the days we still have. Don't let my absence be the reason you stop living. Live for me, dream for me, laugh for me, because if you do, I'll never really be gone. I broke down, clutching the letter to my chest, tears streaming down my face. That was the moment, the idea that changed my life. Life is not about the days we lose. It's about the days we still have. Those words echoed in my mind like a heartbeat. I realized I had been drowning in grief, forgetting that I was still here, that I still had a chance to live, to love, to find happiness again. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. But I started small. I went for walks, felt the sun on my face, listened to the birds sing. I called my parents, apologized for shutting them out. I reached out to old friends, told them I missed them. Slowly, piece by piece, I rebuilt my life. I decided to follow a dream I had buried long ago. I wanted to become a writer. Lily always believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. She'd say, "Ethan, your words can touch hearts. Don't waste them." So I wrote about pain, love, loss, and hope. I poured my soul onto paper, and for the first time in years, I felt free. My first book wasn't perfect. It had flaws, just like me, but it was real, raw, and honest. When it was published, I received letters from people who said my story helped them through their own grief. That's when I understood. Our pain isn't just ours to carry. When we share it, when we turn it into something beautiful, it becomes a light for others lost in the dark. Life didn't magically become perfect. There are still days when I miss Lily so much it hurts, but now I carry her in my heart, not as a wound, but as a part of my story, a chapter filled with love. I visit her grave every year on her birthday. I sit quietly, read her favorite poem, and whisper, "I'm living, Lily, just like you asked." So, dear reader, if you've made it this far, here's what I want you to remember. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you've loved deeply. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means carrying memories with grace. One small idea can change your life. For me, it was a letter. For you, it might be this story. You are still here. You still have days left. Make them count. Thank you for reading. But the story doesn't end there. Life has a way of teaching us lessons when we least expect it. After that letter changed my life, I thought I had learned all I needed to know about grief and healing. But life had more to show me about love, loss, and the fragile beauty of human connection. Months after I published my first book, I received an email from someone named Emily Harper. She wrote, "Dear Ethan, I don't know if you'll read this, but your story saved my life. I lost my brother last year, and I thought I'd never smile again. Then I read your book. It felt like someone finally understood what I couldn't put into words. Thank you for reminding me that it's okay to live even when someone you love is gone." Her words hit me like a wave. I had written my story to heal myself, but somehow it had reached someone else's heart. I replied, and that simple exchange grew into a friendship. Emily and I started writing to each other regularly. We talked about everything, our grief, our fears, our small victories. She was a painter, and she'd send me pictures of her art. Her paintings were full of color, even though her heart had been through so much darkness. It was strange how two broken people could help each other heal. But that's the thing about brokenness. It lets the light in. One day, Emily wrote, "I've decided to visit Chicago. I want to see the city where someone's words brought me back to life." We met at a small cafe near Lake Michigan. She was sitting by the window, a sketchbook in her hands. When she looked up and smiled, it felt like the first warm day after a long winter. We spent hours talking about Lily, about her brother, about the dreams we thought we'd lost. It wasn't like in the movies. There were no perfect lines, no magical music playing in the background, just two people sharing their stories, letting the silence between words be filled with understanding. Over time, our friendship grew into something deeper, but love, when it comes after grief, is complicated. I was terrified of losing someone again, of feeling that same unbearable pain. I kept thinking, what if I let myself love her and then life takes her away too? One night, sitting under a sky full of stars, I confessed my fear. I'm scared, I whispered. I don't know if I can survive losing someone again. Emily took my hand, her eyes gentle. Ethan, love isn't about avoiding pain. It's about finding someone worth facing the fear for. Her words were simple, but they broke something open inside me. I realized I had been living halfway, alive, but afraid, breathing, but not fully living. Loving Emily didn't erase my grief for Lily, but it showed me that my heart was still capable of holding joy alongside sorrow. Years passed, Emily and I built a life together, one filled with books, art, and the quiet comfort of knowing we had both survived the worst and still found something beautiful. But life, as always, had one more lesson. It was a crisp autumn morning when I got the call. Emily had been in an accident. As I rushed to the hospital, my heart raced with a familiar, dreadful rhythm. The sterile hallways, the smell of disinfectant, the hushed voices. It was like being pulled back in time to the day I lost Lily. But this time was different. Emily survived, but she was injured, her body fragile, her spirit shaken. Sitting by her hospital bed, holding her hand, I felt the weight of my old fear pressing down on me. And then I remembered Lily's letter. Life is not about the days we lose. It's about the days we still have. Emily was still here. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but I had today, and that was enough. When Emily recovered, we decided to do something we'd always talked about. We opened a small art and writing studio, a space for people to tell their stories, to find healing through words and colors. We called it Lily's Light. People from all walks of life came, grieving parents, lonely teenagers, veterans haunted by memories, artists who had lost their spark. And in that little studio, surrounded by stories and paintings, I saw something beautiful. Pain doesn't disappear, loss doesn't get erased. But when we share our story, when we turn our grief into something meaningful, it becomes a bridge, a way to connect hearts that might have otherwise remained broken and alone. Now, as I sit here writing this, Emily is beside me, sketching a new painting. The sun is setting, casting golden light across our small apartment. I think about Lily. I think about the letter that changed my life. I think about how one idea, one simple thought, can ripple through time, touching lives in ways we never expect. So, if you're reading this and you're carrying pain that feels too heavy, here's what I want to tell you. You are not alone. Even when it feels like the world has forgotten you, there's someone out there who understands. Your story matters. Every tear, every scar, every moment of hope, it's part of a story that only you can tell. It's okay to love again, even after loss, even after heartbreak. Your heart is stronger than you think. Today is a gift. You don't have to fix everything. Just be here. Breathe. Feel the sun on your face. That's enough. And if you ever doubt that one idea can change a life, remember, mine did. It was just a letter, just a few words, but it saved me. And maybe, just maybe, this story will save someone too.